So I'm Mary Franklin Smith. I work at the Newsham Centre in the eating disorder team at Connect, and I'm a drama therapist. So it started off with my son who was poorly first, and then I caught it, and I started off with a cough. Felt okay, just had a cough for the first 24 hours, and then that moved to flu-like symptoms. So feeling really low in energy, and I didn't ever have a temperature. I never experienced that. I think I did one night. I had a temperature in the night time, but for the first few days it was sort of low energy, persistent cough, body aching type of feeling. And then I felt better for about 24 hours. So I remember coming downstairs, having dinner downstairs, watching a film, thinking, oh, I'll probably be all right tomorrow. And then the next day I woke up, got dressed, felt okay, and by lunchtime I was back in bed, and that's where I stayed for the next sort of 10, 11 days really. I think it was day 8 I phoned 111. They said they were going to send an ambulance, and then the ambulance crew phoned me just before. Well, they said they were on their way, and they phoned me just to check in with me. And in that call where they were asking me about my symptoms, the ambulance paramedic said, because we're having this conversation, I can see that you don't need oxygen therapy because you're holding this conversation with me. So if it gets to the point where you can't string 10 words together, or you experience confusion, or your lips go blue, then ring us back. What I was reading was that day sort of 10, 11 is when it can get quite serious. And so it was day 8 that we phoned 111, and then I was kind of waiting for it to get worse. But it didn't get worse from that point. It slowly, very, very slowly started to get better. I would say for the next 2 weeks from there, I was still in bed most of the day. But gradually, very, 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 very gradually, I did start to experience I could come downstairs for a meal, perhaps spend a bit of time in the lounge, and then go back to bed. And then that sort of, slowly the balance shifted so that I was spending more time out of bed than in bed. I was very well supported, I have to say. Like, I had regular check-ins with my clinical lead, team lead, colleagues, friends, but it was very, very reassuring to have such a lot of contact from my clinical lead. I've got 3 children, so my husband and my 2 daughters didn't get any symptoms. My son obviously did. He had it for about 10 days, high temperature and cough, and he started to recover. And then I guess the thing is, as we're all experiencing, what was hard was just having to cope, just us, and not be able to rely on any family. Because normally if one of me or my husband is really ill, then grandparents help out. It was hard because my husband was doing all 3 meals, homeschooling, and being a head teacher online. So, I'm laughing now. I wasn't laughing very much during it, I have to say. Neither was he. So, yeah, it was really challenging. So I'm working from home, seeing patients online. I'm not going to lie, the thought of seeing anybody physically at the minute. So I haven't been to the supermarket. If I see someone out on the street, then I keep my social distancing. It's, the fear is real of going anywhere with people, whether that's into work, patient facing, or in the supermarket. So I'm sort of taking that one day at a time. I'll tell you what I think helped me to get through it was not reading about it, and the advice I got, consistent advice I got from my clinical lead, was listen to your body and follow its lead, which was extremely helpful, because in any situation where you have an illness, if you have let's say an illness that people know more about, then you can read about the symptoms and the diagnosis and the prognosis, and that can be reassuring, and it can be terrifying. So with this, because people don't know much about it, any story that you read on social media, and that's why I wanted to do this interview, that's being shared is they are the terrifying ones. So what has helped me is to all the way through is to rely on the wisdom of the body and trust it. Because one of my friends said, I said to my friend, I don't trust my body at the minute. It's doing all this stuff. And she said, we don't need to trust your body for it to heal you and to work in your favor. And that was beautiful, because I thought, yeah, absolutely, my body knows what it needs to rest. Just because my mind is going, I should be better by now, what will everyone think that I'm not back at work, I should be helping with the kids, it doesn't mean that that's what I should be following. So I suppose my the thing that got me through it was listening to the wisdom of my body and being patient, but also get out of my own head, and where I could engage in very normal everyday conversations with my children about, you know, their games or their maths homework or whatever, because you can get lost in your own internal world of fear. And just to have a bit of a reality check and a bit of normality, which is hard because how everything that's normal has disappeared for us all, is helpful, I think. You know, obviously the obvious stuff about being drinking fluids and resting is clear, but I think for me it became more of a towards the end it became more of a psychological fear of it and where it was going, and probably still is a little bit. So I think it's about using whatever works for you to remind you of your wisdom, your intuition,